Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm super excited to share my thoughts and opinions on one of my favorite games of all time, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, released in 1998 for the Nintendo 64. Ocarina of Time is an action-adventure game that follows the story of Link as he navigates through time to save the land of Hyrule from the evil Ganondorf. Let's dive in and talk about what makes this game so iconic and beloved by many. The story of Ocarina of Time is one of the most epic and memorable in the Zelda series. You play as Link, a young boy who lives in the Kokiri Forest, and your journey takes you through time as you try to prevent Ganondorf from obtaining the Triforce of Power. The characters in the game are also well developed and memorable, from the wise Princess Zelda to the loyal Navi, Link's trusty sidekick. The gameplay in Ocarina of Time is so much fun. The 3D gameplay was revolutionary at the time of its release, and it still holds up today. The Z targeting system, which allows Link to lock onto enemies and NPCs, was a game changer and added a whole new level of depth to the gameplay. The variety of items and weapons you can collect and use is also amazing, from the Master Sword to the hook shot. The music in Ocarina of Time is just incredible. The soundtrack is iconic and memorable, and it perfectly captures the mood and atmosphere of each area in the game. From the peaceful sounds of the Kokiri Forest to the ominous tones of Ganondorf's castle, the music is an integral part of the game's experience. The sound design is also top-notch, with realistic sound effects that bring the game world to life. Ocarina of Time has had a huge impact on the gaming industry, and it's still widely regarded as one of the greatest games of all time. It's influenced countless other action-adventure games, and its innovative gameplay mechanics have been built upon in many other Zelda games. The game's legacy is undeniable, and it continues to be celebrated by gamers around the world. Personally, I think Ocarina of Time is a masterpiece. I remember playing it for the first time as a kid and being completely blown away by the game's depth and complexity. Even now, as an adult, I still find myself coming back to it time and time again. The game's themes of courage, friendship, and perseverance are timeless, and its story and characters continue to resonate with me. Of course, no game is perfect, and Ocarina of Time has its fair share of criticisms and flaws. Some players might find the game's pacing to be a bit slow or the puzzles to be too challenging. However, I think these criticisms are minor compared to the game's many strengths. Overall, I believe that Ocarina of Time is a game that has stood the test of time, and its influence can still be felt in many modern games. One of my favorite moments in Ocarina of Time is when Link first receives the Master Sword from the Temple of Time. The music, the ceremony, the sense of importance, it's all so epic. Another favorite moment of mine is exploring the Gerudo Desert and encountering the Gerudo warriors. The game's attention to detail and world building is truly impressive. Ocarina of Time has had a lasting impact on the Zelda series, and it's interesting to see how the game's mechanics and themes have influenced later games in the series. From Majora's Mask to Breath of the Wild, the legacy of Ocarina of Time can be seen in many aspects of the series. The game's innovative 3D gameplay and storytelling have set a high bar for future Zelda games. When I compare Ocarina of Time to other games in the series, I think it's one of the most well-rounded and engaging games out there. The game's mix of exploration, puzzle solving, and combat is perfect, and the game's world and story are so immersive. Of course, every game has its own strengths and weaknesses, but Ocarina of Time is definitely one of the standout titles in the series. Now let's talk about two of the most iconic and intimidating temples in Ocarina of Time, the Fire Temple and the Shadow Temple. The Fire Temple is one of the most memorable dungeons in the game, with its intense lava-filled environments and challenging puzzles. But what's even more interesting is the beta theme of the Fire Temple, which was completely different from the final version. According to various sources, the original theme of the Fire Temple was supposed to be a much more tribal and primitive sounding track. However, the developers decided to change it to the intense and epic theme we know today. I think the final version fits the temple's atmosphere perfectly, but it's interesting to imagine what the game would have been like with the original theme. The Shadow Temple is another fan favorite, and for good reason. The temple's dark and eerie atmosphere combined with its challenging puzzles and intense battles make it a truly memorable experience. The music in the Shadow Temple is also noteworthy, with its haunting and ominous tones that perfectly capture the temple's foreboding atmosphere. Both the Fire Temple and Shadow Temple are iconic dungeons in Ocarina of Time, but they have distinct differences in terms of atmosphere and design. The Fire Temple is all about intensity and heat, while the Shadow Temple is about darkness and stealth. Both temples are expertly designed to challenge the player and provide a unique experience. Did you know that the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time had a significantly different design in its beta version? According to developers and data miners, the original Fire Temple was supposed to be a much larger and more complex dungeon with different puzzles and challenges. Unfortunately, this version was removed from the final game, likely due to time constraints and technical limitations. It's believed that the beta version of the Fire Temple was removed due to the technical challenges it posed. At the time, the Nintendo 64 was already pushing its limits with the game's ambitious design, and the added complexity of the beta Fire Temple might have been too much to handle. Additionally, the development team might have decided to focus on other aspects of the game, such as the story and characters, and streamline the Fire Temple's design to fit the game's overall vision. While we can only speculate about how the beta version of the Fire Temple would have changed the game, it's clear that the final version is still an iconic and beloved part of Ocarina of Time. The game's developers did an amazing job of creating a cohesive and engaging experience, and the Fire Temple is a testament to their hard work and dedication. And that's it for today's video on The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I hope you guys enjoyed learning more about the game's development and design. From the Fire Temple's beta theme to the Shadow Temple's eerie atmosphere, there's so much to appreciate about this classic game. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video about The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more gaming content and videos about your favorite games. Don't forget to hit that notification bell to stay updated on my latest videos. Until next time, stay awesome and keep on gaming.